This episode of Profiles in Risk is sponsored by Zywave. Insurers, brokers, and agencies are facing escalating risk and rising complexity. Only Zywave delivers a performance multiplier, equipping you with the tools to get risk right, unlock efficiency, and scale at new speeds. Find out more at 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀.com.
Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. Today I have with me Meg Duty, SVP of Puritan Life Insurance and Canvas Annuity, an award-winning tech leader in our industry. I think you won at least a couple of awards in the last few years.
Yeah, that's right. Making waves, and we were featured by Microsoft in one of their customer stories, things like that.
Fantastic. So a lot of guests on the podcast I've never met before. In your case, kind of the exact opposite. I've seen you on the corporate circuit for a few years, and actually have worked with you guys on helping you recruit, which has been a pleasure. But you guys are a particularly interesting story. Definitely very excited to dig into that. So are you home in Arizona right now?
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona, where we don't have fall in central Arizona, so we're still in our extended summer. But it did dip below 100, so I'm very excited for that. I have, as you can see, my sweater, although it's my Arizona sweater, it's short sleeves. It's time to get that out, but not quite fall yet here.
Okay, so still the depth of summer on October 6th. Just not the worst part of summer. Okay. Fantastic. And it's been a warm summer for everybody to begin with, so I can only imagine for you guys.
Yeah. Same here.
So we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Canvas Annuity?
I love that question. And I'm going to wrap Puritan Life into the elevator pitch as well. So Puritan Life has been around since the 1950s. It's a life and annuity insurance company. It's an all cloud shop, which is very rare, especially on the life side of insurance. And then the team at Puritan Life built Canvas Annuity, which is a wholly online annuity distributor, which is very disruptive, especially when we launched it 5 years ago. It was the first of its kind to sell annuities wholly online directly to consumers.
Okay. So Canvas built by a traditional life carrier.
Yep. And what I like to say is, Puritan is a modern insurer, especially on the tech side, but it is everything that a legacy insurer should be as far as financial strength and longevity of existence. And that carrier, so you're very traditional, and at the time we came into contact with a pretty sleepy little life insurer, built Canvas Annuity, which for all intents and purposes is a bit of an insurtech, right? It's a platform that sells the product, and typically that is built by a separate organization, by a startup that's focused strictly on digital. And so that, I think, is a very unique piece of Puritan's story, is that it's the insurer and it's all the same executives, all the same staff, all the same vendor partners on the Puritan side that built Canvas Annuity. Because we said we can do this better. We really wanted to open up access to the product. We wanted to provide a way for people who didn't know what an annuity was to know what it could do for their retirement portfolio. And so that's what was in our insurance heart, if you will, as a carrier. But we have a very modern approach to technology and to product development and to operations. So we took that and we used it to build Canvas Annuity.
Okay. So Puritan, before Canvas, had already done the work to go all cloud. They had already modernized the technology internally.
Yeah. And, that was part of another very interesting piece of Puritan's story where, it was actually part of a combined insurance group. So it was sold to an investment company, and that investment company had 8 insurance companies that we ran at one time: P&C, Life. We had a little bit in the health space, and we had agencies, we had carriers, and we ran all 8 of them. I still look back on that time in my life and wonder when I slept or ate. But so Puritan Life was part of that combined group. The investment company that owned that combined insurance group also was the primary shareholder in Carvana, which is that direct-to-consumer, wholly online, first of its kind car sales. Also the sole owner of Drive Time and Silver Rock and a lot of things in the retail car space, which seems wholly unrelated, except that we had a lot of exposure to that out of the box thinking and that direct to consumer model in a distribution space that didn't have a direct to consumer model. And we really got a lot of the ideas for how to do Canvas or even thinking about whether or not Canvas would work from the relationship with that retail car space and what was being done by our essentially combined team on that side as well for things like Carvana and direct to consumer distribution models in other spaces.
Okay. So I'm a PNC guy. I know enough about life to be dangerous. I know basically nothing about annuities, other than they're done generally by life companies.
You should visit our website, Tony. CanvasAnnuity.com. Lots of good education. You will come away from the blog being able to say you know what an annuity is and how to use it.
So, and what I've seen, life companies tend to be even behind PNC when it comes to their technology historically.
Yeah.
Why wasn't there a direct annuity play prior to Canvas?
I will tell you, I think what really has been an inhibitor in the life space is while we have this strong sense of identity and this strong sense of tradition of, this is where a life insurance product plays into your life. This is where an annuity fits into your retirement portfolio. And this is how we sell it to you. We come to your kitchen table, we sit across from you, we develop a relationship with you, we tell you about all of the products. We come back maybe 2 or 3 more times. It's very time consuming. It's probably a complete pain in the butt if we're being realistic, but we are really entrenched in that model because that was the way it had always been done. And I think it had been done successfully that way for many years. So sometimes success is a thing that keeps us, fat, happy, and complacent. And that's where that was at when we came to the table and had a different idea. And if I had, $5 for every time someone told me annuities are sold, not bought, and by that, they meant I will never be able to compel someone to purchase it on their own. They will never come to me and ask to buy it. I will always have to go to them and tell them to buy it. I wouldn't even have to have my day job, right? And so I think the thinking was just crusty and stale, and there hadn't been anybody that had enough perspective. And again, we got a lot of that perspective from outside the insurance industry, had enough perspective to say, no, wait a second, I really think this would work, and it'll work in a way that grows the annuity pie, that opens this up to people who wouldn't normally be purchasing this product, which brings me to another thing besides the outdated thinking and it's sort of like you get in this space where that outdated thinking reinforces itself just because it's been around so long. And so that this is the way it's always been done, and this is the only way it will be successful, just becomes, this self-fulfilling prophecy. We also had to be careful with a channel conflict, right? Or contention where we have really great agents. We have some fantastic agent distributed products, and you have to be careful, the outdated thinking when we came to the table with the idea for Canvas Annuity was that if you launch something that was direct to consumer, you are going to cannibalize your agent channels. So we said, okay, we hear you, and that's a good point. Let us think about how we can construct this so that that doesn't happen. Part of it was a separate brand name, hence Canvas Annuity versus Puritan Life. It's all Puritan Life paper on the back end, but you don't see an agent selling Canvas Annuity. You don't see the Canvas direct-to-consumer website selling under the Puritan Life brand, just so there is some differentiation. But also from a product perspective, what we said is it makes sense for people to be able to self-serve and to welcome people into the annuity family, to grow the annuity market with very simple products. So we started with a MYGA. which is a fixed rate. It functions a lot like a bank CD, so it makes sense in a paradigm that people are already familiar with, even if they've never had an insurance agent. We said we can bring people into the fold with this product. We can have them, buy and not have to sell with this simple product. And once they are aware of what an annuity can do with their retirement portfolio, we've actually grown the amount of interest that we can have in our agent distributed products, which are a little more complex and where our customers are best served sitting across the table from somebody that they have developed a relationship with, where they can talk candidly about the risks and the benefits of the more complex products and decide what makes sense for them. But, we have on the Canvas side between 25 and 30% on average customers who have never bought an annuity before. So now you have these customers who probably would have never looked at insurance for their retirement portfolio insurance products. And they come and they buy this MYGA and they say, wow, this has worked really well for me. Well, if you're an agent and you're approaching that customer before they purchased, they may not have talked to you at all. Now that they've done a bit on their own and they're, like you said, they know enough to be dangerous, they've educated themselves, their comfort level is higher, they've purchased a product that worked out well for them, they're probably going to be a lot more open to hearing from you on the other products that are available under the annuity umbrella. And so that was one of the ways that we solved that channel conflict or the contention of, if you go direct to consumer, you don't love your agents anymore. I'm like, I actually love them more. I want to bring more people to them. And it was a matter of just keeping the right product in the right channel to really open things up on both sides of the fence, direct to consumer and agent as well.
Yeah, so the product was actively designed for a new demographic.
Yep, exactly right.
And keeping it as simple as possible.
Exactly right. Because we, especially as a company, one of the things that is really important to us in our fabric of the company, in our company identity, is that we're customer friendly. Our products, there are no tricks, especially on the Canvas side. I see a lot of the new entrants to the direct consumer space for annuities that are quoting simple interest, which looks higher, but that's not actually what you're getting, when you do the math. And we would never do something like that. Or they have banded rates. They say like, oh, you can earn 6%. And you're like, wow, that sounds great. So I go up to your website and I try to figure out how to get it. Oh, that's only if you have $100,000 or $250,000. They're not straightforward with the fact that to get the best rate, you have to put in a lot of money at once. These are, MYGAs are typically single premium products. It's all at once. You've got to be funding that type of amount, which is prohibitive for a lot of people that could still benefit from an annuity. So we really want to be customer friendly with our products, with our minimums, and we want to be straightforward. And so we come out and say, we have this simple MYGA product. You're able to read enough about it online where we are confident that once you visit our website and use our self-service education tools like our quoter and, read our blog articles, read our product pages, that you will know enough to buy. Now, I can't say that for a fixed index annuity. I think you need to talk to somebody before you buy that. And I think you need to understand from an expert's perspective what, like I was saying before, what the risks and benefits are and have some help in deciding if that's right for you. And so that's really the way that we endeavored to do it, is to come out with a product that, again, on both sides of the house, they're customer friendly. There's no catch in our products. There's nothing that if you didn't read it carefully enough, it's going to get you later, which insurance does do. I hate to say that. I hate to say anything negative on behalf of the industry as a whole, but some companies and some products are like that. And so there's nothing like that on either side of the fence, but we had to be very careful with the things that we were doing directly with consumers who are not licensed professionals on our direct side. And then we can be a little more complicated with also a little more upside in our agent distributed products.
How did the agency force take it? So you were very careful in designing it.
Yep.
Was it perceived that way by the agency force?
It was, and a couple of interesting things happened. I can't tell you how many times I've been approached by agents that want to sell the Canvas product. And actually, I really love when this happens because 99% of the time, they're not trying to sell it because they think that it's something that will get them a really high commission, because guess what? There's no commission in that direct product, but they see it as something that could benefit their customers and somewhere that they could put their customers more conservative part of their retirement portfolio. And so really what they've been asking us for, which we don't do, but what they've asked us for many times over the past few years is access to that product, because they want to connect their customer to it, because they want to make sure that their customer is getting the best possible thing for them. So I take that as, proof of our agents' good intentions, but also a nice compliment to the product if agents who are licensed experts are seeing it as something that's beneficial to their customers. So the product was really well received. We got a lot of support from our agent force. At the time that we launched Canvas, we had one agent partner. They're called Pink American. They've been like this with Puritan Life since the beginning. And they, when I would post on LinkedIn, they would be supporting and boosting the posts about Canvas. When we would do digital marketing, they're out there on our socials supporting the effort, because they did understand the value proposition of growing that annuity market and bringing more people into awareness of annuities and understanding the opportunity for them. Now, do we sell people's information from Canvas to our agent distributed side? No, we want to make sure that when customers decide to work with an agent, that's their decision. So it's not like you're buying Canvas and then getting pushed over and now some agent's going to call you. We don't do that kind of cross marketing, but we do, like I said, just grow the awareness and the access to annuities. And our agents understood and still understand, even to this day, when I put something out about Canvas, the owner of our original partner, Pink American, will be one of the first ones to come out and say, this is really cool, or congratulations, on the product launch, or love to see that this is successful. So they've been great partners all along. And again, I think it's because the product and the idea speak for themselves, and they're a really great product that is good for customers. So that's an interest that we have in common with our agents. And it's a great distribution model that actually opens up their world. So they're in support of it. And at the same time, something that we've done that I think has been just as important to the success of that agent support of direct to consumer is we didn't take our foot off the gas on the agent side. We didn't ignore our agents and say, hey, this new, cool, shiny, younger model of direct to consumer distribution has replaced you and we don't care about you anymore. We still regularly meet with our agent partners. We take all of their feedback on their digital tooling, on their products, and one of the main differentiators Puritan Life has and the agent distribution side is we are able to be extremely responsive to their requests, both in product development and also in digital tools. And so we have that really good rapport, and they didn't feel, I think if we had come out with Canvas and they sort of felt like they fell off a cliff, we would have had a lot less support for it, but they didn't feel that, right? So we've done just as much cool stuff on the agent distribution side since launching Canvas as we have for Canvas. Some examples include, we just launched, I think it was last year, if not slightly before that, we launched a 𝗲𝗃𝗀 product, which again was the first of its kind. This was for our agent distribution. So it's an FIA, a fixed index annuity, that has a fixed bucket, which is usually a pretty low interest rate, but we introduced the concept of a MYGA for that fixed bucket. So you can have a 3, 5, or 7-year MYGA embedded in your fixed index annuity. And not only is that really beneficial for customers, but it's unique and it's exciting, and it gave our agents a great story to talk about with customers. And so they just love that. We're really great with working with their digital tools, right? So I'm sure you've heard all the big names like Firelight for e-application, SuranceBay for agent onboarding. All of our agents use those, and so we use them too because they're somewhat ubiquitous, but sometimes they're not exactly what you want them to be. And so we've paid a lot of attention to what our agents are asking us to do in our instances of those ubiquitous software programs, and we've made life as easy as possible in there. We've done some cool things, like we launched a smartphone app for our agent portal. So if you're an agent, our agents are always on the road. They're driving from appointment to appointment. Sometimes they have areas that can span, up to a couple hours away. So they're just like, they're little road warriors. They're our travelers. And so we said, why don't we put the tools that you need for selling our product right into your pocket? So you don't even have to have your laptop or your tablet. You just pull your phone out, you launch our smartphone app, you can look up your customers' policies, you can look at their documents, you can really be on the spot anytime, anywhere, and help assist customers and answer their questions. So we've done just as much cool stuff on that side of the fence as we have on the Canvas side. And I think that's another reason why our agents didn't feel, resentful, or they were, to the contrary, very supportive of that direct to consumer initiative. And in fact, Tony, we have added partners. So 𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗃 was our first partner. They're still a really strong partner for us, but we have partnered with M&O, so a great agency, kind of Michigan, Ohio area, and also with Simplicity most recently, which is a huge, nationwide agency that we're very excited to be partnered with. So having that direct to consumer offering hasn't deterred agents from us. I think it's made them love us more.
All right. Since it was a new, the first of its kind, did you have to build the platform itself, or were you able to build it on existing?
It's a proprietary platform. We built it from scratch.
Build a brand new platform from scratch.
Yeah. So, fun story there. When we were first framing up the direct to consumer initiative for Canvas, we're in a room and then the executives are brainstorming and we're saying, like, we really think this model could work. And so it comes up like, well, what would we need? And the answer was like, a website. That's all we need. We just build the website. And then it will happen. And it turns out, it's a website. It's an applicant portal for more complicated, like, rollover and transfers. It's an online application. It's online digital funding. It's e-signature and docs. It's customer portals. It's a CRM. It's a phone center. It's because we still actually have licensed agents that work under the Canvas name. They're not outbound sales, but they are inbound sales assistants. So if you're on the website and you don't understand something, or you're stuck in the application, you have a question, you can still call and talk to somebody if you want to. And so even though it's a direct model, there are agents involved. And so because there are agents involved, we need an entire, CRM and phone system. So I always look back, if I'm updating the Canvas infrastructure map, and I'm showing all the things, the digital marketing program and all the tools that go with that, and all of our analytics and our data management, and it's quite an expansive ecosystem. And I have a little chuckle every time I look at it and think back to that meeting where we're like, let's just build a website. It's never that easy, but it's definitely something that's come together really nicely. And I think come together really nicely because we did do it as a proprietary build. This was something that hadn't been done before. So there was no out-of-the-box solution. And really, there was no recipe for baking that cake. So as we were going, data and analytics were very important to us because we were constantly taking feedback for what's working, what's not, and what do we need? Like, building out that ecosystem. When we first launched, it was a website and a customer portal, and everything else I just said came later. So we really have built this out over time based on what we're seeing in our data and our analysis.
All right. So 5 years in, at this point, it's a pretty mature, fully deployed. What are you excited about for next year, for 2026?
Let me say two things here, because I get this question a lot. 5 years in, how's it going, right? What happened? You launched and then what? To be honest, we launched and we didn't sell a single policy for 3 months. It was absolute crickets. And we had, it was, I remember being in Google Analytics and watching the website and being, 7 people are on here. 7 people are on our homepage. Are they going to click? And we've gone from there to over the past 5 years, we've had 700% revenue growth for the company, not just Canvas, not in the digital distribution channel, not in the Canvas products, but for the company, 700% revenue growth. In fact, I had mentioned at the beginning, Microsoft did that customer story on us because we are all cloud and we are Microsoft Cloud. And we went back and figured out what that growth was for the customer story, and it was 700%. This platform makes minimum, brings in $1 million a day minimum premium anytime, anywhere. Like Sundays, it's a holiday, an agent's available, an agent's not available, it doesn't matter. This platform is very consistently performing for us, which is really exciting. But the part I'm most excited about the ground we've covered so far is, like I was saying, back on the education and access side, we've got 25% people who have never bought before, 30% people who are buying a second and a third and a fourth policy and putting them in the conservative part of their retirement portfolio without any prompting. I wish I could say we have this like really developed marketing program for getting repeat customers. We haven't addressed that yet. And naturally, organically, 30% are coming back and bringing more money. We actually, when we did the initial projections for Canvas Annuity, we went with 1/5 of our typical premium amount because we said people aren't going to trust us. We're a new company. I mean, we're well rated, but like we're a new company. It's all online. They're not used to doing it online. So we're going to cautiously say that our average premium amount is going to be 1/5 of what our normal premium amount, what our agent distributed average premium is. And year one, we exceeded the average premium of agent distribution. So they're trusting us. They're bringing their dollars in. We have really great ratings on Trustpilot. We have like high 60s is our NPS score consistently, which is kind of unheard of for any insurance, especially on the annuity side, the life and annuity side of the house. And my favorite fact that I get, we do customer surveys at the end of every application. And consistently, our customers tell us, we say, like, what was the number one reason you chose to buy a Canvas Annuity? What compelled you to make this purchase? And now we have some of the highest, if not usually the highest rate out in the market because of the direct-to-consumer model. And over and above high rates, our customers consistently choose an easy online application and the educational material that they could find online to self-service with as more important than getting the highest rate. Now, they usually also get the highest rate, which is fantastic, but I love seeing that because to me, that's the important part, is that we've made this accessible and that we've made the education available in order to have confident customers who are purchasing and they're doing something that's good for their retirement portfolio. So I love that we've been able to bring that all together. Now, I'm making it sound like this beautiful, wonderful experience, which it is. But over the past 5 years, we have built that very purposefully in pieces. Like I said, we went 3 months with no sales, and then we figured out how to tweak the digital marketing to get in front of more people, to bring people in. We started bringing those people in. We asked them, what do you think of the product? What do you think of the website? What do you need that we didn't give you? And we've built that out over time and then been able to accomplish all the things I just talked about. So I'm really excited to be in that space. And right now, as far as what's next, because we have established a reputation of trust, because we have really cracked the code on the digital distribution model for annuities, now we're looking at the platform and saying, what other products make sense here? And it's interesting because that's not as easy of a question as you think it would be, where you think like, oh, you've got this really great platform that can get products in front of people. You could put anything in there, but go back to our original conversation where it really matters to us that it's a product that is something people can do on their own and that it's not a product that should require a financial expert. So we just launched, we call it the Forever Fund, but it's a single premium immediate annuity. So you bring your initial premium, you invest it with Canvas, and we have all kinds of different payment options. So like, do you want, payments for a certain period of time, 5 years, 10 years? Do you want payments even for the rest of your life? Do you want an annual increase on those payments? Do you want the payments monthly? Do you want them quarterly? So a person could bring, a little bit of a nest egg, come in and say, here's what fits my life. Here's what I want my income to look like in retirement. Lock it all in up front, and it's guaranteed for the rest of the, term or for life, even if you choose that option, which I think is really cool because, again, it's straightforward and easy enough to understand. And it's kind of fun. I said facetiously earlier, like, go to our website, learn more. If you do go to our website, look at our Forever Fund quoter. I think it's such a good time to go in and say, like, I have, $10,000 and I want a monthly payment for the rest of my life. And then you actually built this in. You'll see a little bit of my personality when it comes back, but we have a confetti spray. It'll be like, your payment is confetti, and here's your amount. And so I think that one's really fun to play with, but I love it, especially because number one fear in retirement for our customers, our age demographic, is running out of money. And so this is a really great, straightforward product. There's no catch, and you can make it, you can customize it to what you want it to look like in your retirement, and then it's guaranteed. So you know that you've got at least that income that you've locked in with Canvas, regardless of what else happens in the world, which I think is really cool. And, we'll continue doing much the same past the launch of this product, which literally just happened 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now. It's very new on the market. It's already seen really great traction, but we'll continue that thought process, right? We'll continue to understand what our customers want and need. We'll continue to understand what they thought of our process and our tools and what they need out of that. And we'll continue to build in other products that make sense in the way those first two products do.
All right. Fantastic. Meg, thank you so much for this view at how to successfully build the right product for the direct market and in at an existing company.
Yeah, right.
And having to be careful with channel conflict.
Yeah, well, and really, we're focused on, especially on the direct to consumer channel, access and education, which might seem kind of counterintuitive when you think your focus should be, premium or your bottom line. But what we have found is that by focusing on the things that do right by our customers and the things that bring in more customers, then the rest of that is a really easy follow.
And I think it's definitely the right goal. I think that is easier to do at an existing company than at a true startup, especially like a VC-backed startup.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, and I think that's probably why we have that perspective, is that's where our roots are. Our roots are in a very financially stable, strong, been around since the 1950s carrier. And then we do have a modern mindset. We know how to get things done. We're very pragmatic. We don't buy into it's always been done that way. Like, my favorite word is yet, right? Like, you don't have that yet. That hasn't been done yet. But we take those two perspectives and bring them into what we've built with Canvas Annuity. And you're right. I think sometimes other technology that's been built or other existing insurance companies just has one or the other from one or the other perspective.
Yeah, existing carriers struggle with their technological debt and struggle with the channel conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And on the startup side, the pressure from investors for quick growth,
right,
makes it extremely hard to have the longer term view.
Exactly.
So being able to combine the advantages of both sides.
Yeah, we really had a best of both and a green field, which is rare.
Yeah, and having identified the right green field, I love that you were very honest about. So we identified the right what it wasn't getting served,
Yeah.
But we thought it was a lot simpler than it ended up being.
We sure did. We learned so much over these past 5 years. And not to say we didn't come in as experts of our craft, but this is uncharted territory. And so you have to be open to being schooled by all the things that are happening. And we definitely are. And I think that's been to our benefit.
Fantastic. Always great chatting with you. Thank you for your time today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
When this goes live, I'll tag both you and the company on it. And yeah, I'd love to see our industry doing more of this, building the right product for the right people in the right way, and while respecting our history and our other channels.
You couldn't have put that better. That's exactly what I want to see too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.